the business, that's a good start. So we got people developing, and I'm going to represent what they're creating with just money, right? So I'm going to give. So you're coding, right? Yeah. So he's created something in their code base. So he's holding on to this $5. I'm coding. Your coding maybe isn't as good, so we'll give you a $1 there. No, it's the
design
no.
business case modeling and presentation.
So yeah, this is just a model. So he came up with, say, the business plan. So everyone is creating something of value, right? And what are you doing?
I'm a coder and I'm the...
Okay.
I gave you that.
So they're all creating this stuff of value. They're inventions or creations. And this is eventually what's going to make the company valuable is the stuff that they're coming up with. So business plans, logos, the code, all this, and they're all creating it. Okay? So that's good. So Buck, you're coding.
Yeah.
Who owns that code right now? Right this second.
Right this second, I do.
You own the code.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all understand that. Anything that these guys are creating, it's still owned just by you. There's no company yet, right? And if you guys own something jointly, or you create something jointly, then there's probably some joint ownership, and that's a mess. And let's say Chris, he created something cool, and then after this weekend, he just falls off the face of the earth, and we never hear from Chris again. So Chris, why don't you walk over there a little bit? But he's walking away with this thing of value that has been created. He's got the business plan, didn't you? Like technically, he owns the business plan and the idea. Okay, so this is problematic. I think you can see that you can't sell this yet, right? You can't sell this. You can't get anyone who has any sense to invest in this because where's the value? It's all over the place, right? But you guys are smart. You recognize this. We all know this. So all of you are in this situation right now. It's just a cluster, right? You can't really do anything with this yet, so you need to organize. So you think, oh, well, we're smart. We're going to create this corporation. So here's the corporation, this box. We got a corporation. We went on LegalZoom or whatever we did. We created this corporation. This is, what's the name of the corporation? Do we have a name?
Cardboard box.
Okay, box.
Cardboard.
Cardboard Box, Inc. So we've got this corporation. That's great. We spent this money. It's done. Okay, can we sell the company? Can we take on investment? Are we ready to go now? Like, what's missing here? The box is completely empty. There's nothing in here. Just because you create a corporation, it doesn't do anything to help you. Other than you could point to it and say, hey, we formed a corporation. Lots of guys do this and they think, oh, we're square, we set it up. But no, it's completely empty. It's worthless. It's really no better situation than you were in before. So what do we have to do then is we actually have to identify, okay, what did you create of value for the business? And it's code, you help with the business plan, and you actually sign an assignment to get it in the box. So put your 5 in the box. So it's in the box, okay? So good, we've got something of value that's now owned by the corporation. Okay, so that's good. Same thing, we're signing assignments. Assignment, and we track.
Is that the business guy?
No business guy. So we tracked down Chris, thankfully.
Is that the right stuff?
And Chris was able to assign his technology, his business plan, whatever it is he created, and it's in the company. So great. So now we've got a corporation, and it's got all the technology that's important to the business in here. So good. Now we've got something of value. Great. Hopefully you do this sooner than later. Some people wait like years to do this, and they say, hey, let's get organized now. And by then, like, Chris is maybe dead, or who knows.
Yeah, it happens every year.
Or, you can't track these guys down, or they don't want to sign anything. So the earlier you can do this, the better. So this is good, but wait a second. So none of these guys, we haven't given them an interest in the corporation. So we put everything in, but they don't own anything yet. So then you've got to think about, okay, well now we've got to divvy out ownership in this corporation. okay? So we come up with this artificial construct called stock, right? There's no, I mean, stock is just, really, it's an artificial construct. And we just say, hey, we're gonna break this into, we're gonna say that there's 100 shares that represent this corporation. That means that, you know, one share is 1% of this corporation. And that's just completely artificial, but that's just how we do things in corporation, with corporations. So then we decide how to divvy it up, splitting up the pie, and you guys say, well, hey, you know, I'm pretty valuable, and you have those hard conversations, like, plus I know people, and
Do you have those conversations while you're figuring out how to put the...
it's usually one thing, like you put your thing in and you take your stock. It's like this one motion. But I'm breaking it up just so it's a little easier. But, so you figure out how to split the pie. How are we going to split the pie? What are we just going to do quarters? Or are we going to do
Controlling stake.
controlling stake? Maybe, I don't know. We won't go into the particulars of this, but this can be an uncomfortable conversation. But the earlier you have the conversation, the better. Because it only gets harder, trust me. But let's just say you guys are, just decide, hey, we're just going to do it in quarters. That's really easy, and it's really easy for this example. We decided that there's 100 shares for this corporation, so 25 each. This is easy, right? We're easy. So 25 each. The IP is in. When I say IP, intellectual property, creations, invention, anything, the value, it's all in there. You get your stock back, and so you own then 25% of this and all the technology in it, and same with each of you. Okay, so let's say right after that happens, Fabian, how do I say it?
Fabian.
Oh man, I was way off. Fabian. So you just decide, you say, hey, thanks guys. It's really cool. Glad we got this all set up. I'm bailing. You know, this whole thing, no health insurance. You know, I'm kind of over the startup thing, so I'm gonna go get a real job. You guys
You picked it right.
yeah, I keep building it, but and you know, kudos to you. So Fabian, if you'd step over there. So he leaves, and you guys are like, okay, cool, Fabian, you know, just bring your shares, you know, give them back to us. And he says, well, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. Like, why would I do that? I like helped you guys get the thing started. I was pretty critical. So you just keep building it, and then when you sell it, just, you know, cut me a check for a quarter of whatever you sold it for, because that's how the stock is. Well, this is what happens very often. You know, if they say 50% of marriages end in divorce among startup founders, I'm going to put it at like 80%. So plan on, if this is your founding group, someone is leaving within a year. I guarantee it. So plan on it. Like, how are you going to handle that? He just walked out with a quarter of the company. You think that's going to cause some, they're not going to feel good about that. We got a free rider over here, no offense. He's just free riding. So we got the founder free riding problem. So how on earth do we solve this?
How about 5% investment per year?
That's one way. So there's a couple ways you can say, hey, you know what? At the very beginning, we're going to each get 25%, but if someone leaves, then hey, I can buy back, the company or we can buy back your stock at X price, and you set the price, whatever it might be. Or even more common with tech companies is we do vesting over time, and often we do 4-year vesting. And what that means is, Fabian, you're back in the company, and if you leave before the 1-year anniversary of the company, you don't take any stock, or if you try, the company can buy it back for pennies, okay? And slowly over time, over 4 years in this case, that stock becomes vested to him, and let's say, Fabian, if you leave it after year 2, half your shares go to you, and you've earned them, fine, but the other half goes back to you. So that's the most common way to handle that, and it's probably the best way. Did someone have a question?
If he leaves before his stock vests, what happens to the stock? Does it go back to the, like, we said 100 shares, probably at 25, he leaves before any of the stock vests.
So if he leaves before any of the vests, comes back into the company as just authorized but unissued shares. So that would mean that there were 75 issued and 100 authorized, but so they would each own a third of the company then, even though they only had 25 each still. It's 25 out of 75. So it's a third, a third, a third.
Then me and Buck got it. Hey, let's see if this other guy.
So you're kind of happy that he left, because now, you know, there's only 3 of you. And it's a third each, and that's a bigger check if you ever have a good exit. Okay?
So what are we gonna do to drive this guy out?
I don't know. We have 66% together though.
I've been working hard on it all day.
So that's vesting. That's also important. Another thing that founders screw up royally, besides the vesting thing and the founders leaving, because it's going to happen. Just plan on it. The other thing is, remember that assignment of inventions, creations that we did at the very beginning? Remember that? IP assignment? Well, these guys are still working on the business. They're creating more code, more design, more better business plans. Does that stuff that they're creating, does it just automatically just hop into the box? It doesn't. It does not at all. Even though they set this up, they did an initial assignment, and then they continue to work and build the business, all that stuff that you're creating, it doesn't just automatically jump into the box, even though most people seem to think that that's what happens. You have to sign another agreement between the corporation and each of the founders that says, anything I create on a go-forward basis is going to be assigned to the company if it's related to the company's business. So you have the initial assignment that we did, which was just like a, hey, looking back, everything I've created to date, I'm putting it in. And then you have to sign another separate assignment that says, hey, everything in the future that I create that's related to our business, it's going to be assigned in. Okay, if you don't sign that second one, and you're kind of in trouble because they're constantly creating, and if you don't do that, then it's just kind of floating everywhere. You got to pin it all down and get it in there through assignments. Also, say you guys decide, hey, we need to bring in a contractor to develop a small piece of the business, whether it's a logo, or hey, there's this particular piece or module within the code that we need, and we need an expert, or we need a mobile app. They're a contractor, and you have them sign an agreement, an independent contractor agreement, again saying, hey, we own it, and you use those words, maybe you heard them, work for hire. This is work for hire. Work for hire doesn't apply to contractors and code. You actually have to have language that says, I hereby assign this, not just that it's work made for hire. So the point I'm saying is, or the point I'm trying to make is, anything that's created for the business, you need to be real careful that it actually does get assigned in there. And so everything of value that's been created is in there. So that's that. Let me just
Talk a little bit about